Live from the NJ.com studio comes the only weekly TV podcast you'll need, where a lofty critic squares off with an obsessed superfan on everything from highbrow drama to lowbrow reality. The cocktail shaker is ready. Prepare for your TV hangover. Now, your hosts, Vicki Hyman and Erin Medley.
Hello and welcome to TV Hangover. I am one of your hosts, Erin Medley, sitting here with the lovely Vicki Hyman.
Hey, everybody.
And this is episode 8. Vicki, we've made it 8 episodes.
8 episodes. Nobody's yanked us from iTunes yet.
We have not been canceled. Or our order has not been downgraded.
But they haven't ordered more scripts exactly. But you're in charge of that, aren't you, Erin?
That's true. I think we'll stay on the air for a while. So we are here to talk about your favorite TV shows, ratings, news, everything in between. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at TV Hangover Show. You can follow me at E_meds. And follow Vicki at Vicki High,
VICKIHY.
And we have a new email address, tvhangovershow at NJadvancemedia.com.
News to me.
That's not hard to remember, but we're always available on Twitter. So, Vicki, I know that you always make fun of me for my Friday night TV viewing because...
It's not that I make fun of you. I just feel sort of bad and sad for you.
Well, I hang out on the weekends, but Friday nights are made for Shark Tank, The Amazing Race.
And Dr. Ken.
Negative.
And Truth Be Told.
Absolutely not. Hawaii Five-0 and 2020.
2020, really?
Absolutely. Every single Friday.
Really?
No matter what. No matter what.
Okay.
In the few years where I wasn't watching 2020, I was watching Dateline because they come on at the same time.
Okay.
But last Friday was a special Friday night. Not only was 2020 on, Leah Remini was on 2020.
I heard. I didn't actually watch it.
And she was talking about Scientology.
And it got really great ratings, I hear.
So, those are 3 of my favorite things. The ratings were phenomenal. 8.2 million people tuned in to watch Leah Remini talk crap about Scientology. It was amazing.
I mean, people are fascinated by it. I've written a couple of stories about it because Scientology, as you know, has its roots in New Jersey.
Yes, it does.
I've written stories about that, and yeah, people can't seem to get enough of how weird it seems. People.
Oh yeah, allegedly. Don't come after us, Scientologists. But no, Leah Remini was letting it all hang out.
Did she really?
She really did. Because
what did she say about Katie Holmes specifically?
Well,
that's what we all want to know.
That is what we want to know. We have to remember she's promoting her book, Troublemaker. And here's what she said about Katie Holmes. That before she was invited to the Tom Cruise Katie Holmes wedding, she had already started questioning some of the things that were going on. But she was invited anyway. And she was invited with the one catch that she had to bring Jennifer Lopez and Mark Anthony.
So they could boost Scientology's profile?
So they could possibly recruit them. Right. So she shows up at the wedding, and Leah Remini didn't like how it felt like the Scientologists were trying to separate her from her friends. They would make them ride in different cars. They weren't seated at the same table at the wedding, and she didn't like that at all. So she voiced her concerns. And when she returned stateside, she filed a report. So apparently this is a thing in Scientology where if someone isn't following the rules of the church, you can write a report about them, whether it's your family member or your best friend or whatever. So she filed a report, and at the same time, other people in the church filed reports against her saying that she ruined the wedding, that she was being disruptive, and one of those people... This is
exactly what happened in my family last week, but okay.
But you're not a Scientologist?
I'm not a Scientologist.
And one of the people who filed a report was Katie Holmes.
On Leah?
On Leah. Written, and it's like a written report that they showed on the show because Leah had a copy of it. And the best part about it is that Katie Holmes was asked for a comment, and her response was, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me, was, I apologize if I have offended Leah in the past. So she acknowledges that, something may have happened while she was married to Tom Cruise. So I found it fascinating. As always, I always find Scientology fascinating.
It is pretty. It's just so weird. I mean, you just read it, and I read the book upon which the HBO documentary was based, and it's fascinating stuff. Your mind can't even wrap itself around it.
I think the one thing that I like about Leah Remini being the person who's come out against Scientology is that she was in it for the majority of her life. And she was very committed to it. And then one day realized, like, some of these things just aren't right. And if you know anything about Leah Remini, she's very outspoken. She has an opinion, she sticks to it, and she voices it. And so I can't help but believe her. Like, if she says something crazy is going on. And the one thing that I took away...
I didn't need Leah Remini to tell me that,
frankly. This is true. But I think that what I found most fascinating about the interview is that she's not coming at it from a perspective of someone who feels like they were scorned. Like, the way that she approaches it is, I was a Scientologist, and these are the things that we believe in Scientology. And she doesn't say anything negative about going through the not monitoring. What's the process where they hold on to the...
Oh, I can't remember what it's called. Auditing.
Yeah, she doesn't say anything ridiculously negative about the religion. It's just that she questions some of the practices and things that were going on that were not explained to her. And I find that interesting, because you leave a religion and you can't, after being in it for 30 years, all of a sudden be like, oh, well, that whole thing was really stupid. Like, that's just unrealistic. So, we'll hear more, I'm sure, from Leah Remini in the coming days as she continues to promote her book.
Of course she will.
I may actually read that book. And I don't read.
Yes, you don't read.
So...
Wow. Well, just the only new thing interesting that I've been watching this week is Starz has a new ballet drama called Flesh and Bone, which premieres on Sunday night. I started watching the first episode as a press screener before. And did you watch Center Stage, the 2000 ballet?
Excuse me? Are you explaining Center Stage to me?
It seems to be sort of like a slightly more dramatic version of Center Stage, including, I'm sorry to say, one of the things that brought down Center Stage to me is that two of the actors, the two male leads, are so incredibly wooden.
Because they're not really actors.
I know. I'm sorry. That's just no excuse to me. I thought.
But isn't one of them in this show? Flesh
yes,
and Bone?
He is, and I was like, he's the worst one, Sasha Radetsky. And I actually haven't come to a scene that he is in yet. Yeah. But I'm like, oh, because he was so bad in Center Stage.
Yeah, but that was like 15 years ago.
It was 15 years ago, so maybe he's taking some acting
classes. But
let's
be clear, despite how wooden the two main actors may have been, Center Stage is still one of the best movies of all time.
Of all time? I thought you were going to say the best ballet movie, and I'm like, well, yeah, except for Flashdale.
No, best movie, so good. I can't even. We'll be talking about that for a long time if I continue. So let's get into our TV news for this week. We have our Jersey boy, Jon Stewart, of course, Jersey Boy and Daily Show alum. That comes second. He has signed a 4-year contract with HBO. This is according to the Hollywood Reporter.
It's according to HBO. I reported too.
Oh, excuse me.
They sent out a press release.
Excuse me. He'll create short-form digital content for HBO Now and HBO Go, and the network will get a first-look option at his future work.
TV and movies.
So what do you think about this, Vicki?
I mean, he was going to land somewhere, and I think HBO is a great place for him.
I thought he was going to land at the animal sanctuary.
Well, yes, he is there. He already is there, but his life as a gentleman farmer is apparently over.
That was quick.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, he gave sort of like a very cheeky statement in the announcement about how, I can produce a couple of clips after doing, 16 years of The Daily Show. I can do a couple of digital clips.
Right, and they're like 2-minute clips or something. I don't know.
He's also working with some like digital technology company on some sort of, new technology. They were very vague about it, but it should be interesting.
Something about the interwebs.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sure. In reboot news, which I think we've had a piece of reboot news every week that we've been doing this
we
podcast.
will be for the foreseeable future, because there's no imagination left in Hollywood.
There's nothing. Fox has committed to a pilot for a Greatest American Hero reboot. Deadline.com reports the 80s comedy will be produced by the directors of 21 Jump Street. A lead has not yet been set, and Fox hasn't settled on a name for the show. The original series ran for 3 seasons on ABC, and the theme song, believe it or not, hit number 2 on the Billboard charts. I think we should hear that theme song.
Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so free.
Great. Walking on air. I think that one of the best TV theme songs ever.
It is awesome. I think it's funny because I think it's one of those shows that definitely has, like, anybody under the age of 25 does not know what the heck you're talking about.
No,
I mean, but anybody above that, maybe 30.
Maybe.
Okay, actually, maybe 40. I don't know.
No. I'm not 40.
Okay,
so I know it.
Maybe under 35. Just has no idea what we're talking about. But it happened to be a show that was it was really great in the beginning, and then it fizzled out pretty damn quick. I don't really remember exactly why it fizzled out, but I just remember it got bad.
Right.
But it was so goofy and charming. For people who don't know, it's about this school teacher with this great mop of curly hair,
yes,
who later appeared on Models Inc. I was very excited to see William Catt come back.
Models Inc.
Yeah.
That's a show to bring back.
And I think he had some sort of a connection with some aliens and ended up being imbued with superpowers, but didn't know how to use them. It was funny. It was goofy. I loved it.
I don't know if this is going to work.
I don't know if it's and yes, I don't know if it's going to work as a reboot. But I did like the original.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with this one. But as long as they use a theme song, I think they're okay.
I have a feeling they're probably going a different direction with it. I don't think they could possibly just reboot it as it was. They've got to give some sort of twist.
But that means we'll get a Believe It or Not remix.
Oh, I hope so.
Okay, well, we'll see. CBS has announced a new Star Trek series for its digital subscription service. For January 2017, there will be all new characters, worlds, and civilizations in the series. Executive producer Alex Kurtzman had a hand in the 2009 Star Trek film.
He wrote it.
Yes, well, a big hand.
Although writing is not really what I think the Star Trek, what made the Star Trek 2009 movie so great.
No, not at all.
Not that it was terrible, but
No, I thought it was good.
No, I'm saying not that the writing was terrible.
Oh,
it wasn't the writing.
Right, no. And he also works on Scorpion and the show Limitless.
And Sleepy Hollow, which
sure.
I think don't you like Sleepy Hollow?
No, I've never watched Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It seems right up your alley.
It's not my bag.
Okay.
No.
And also, in dear to my heart, Fringe, which is a sci-fi show,
Also
and
not my
it
bag.
was amazing.
I do like Joshua Jackson, but not my type of show. But here's the most interesting part about this Star Trek series is that it's only available if you sign up for CBS's. What is it called? CBS?
I think CBS All Access.
All
it's
Access.
$5.99 a month.
Correct.
And you've all heard about this, right? No, not until the Star Trek thing. It apparently has not been doing very well.
No.
But they're going to premiere, I think, the first episode will be available to everybody, and then everybody ooh, we have to watch this. Let's sign up.
Right. I mean, it's a good strategy for CBS if they're looking to move into the Netflix,
and I think
Hulu
everybody
territory.
is. I mean, I don't know how much longer we're going to have cable.
Oh, well, I think we're good for a while.
I don't know.
I think we're okay. All I know is that I'm not paying $5.99 to watch this. I'm just not.
But you can also watch. I'm trying to think of the worst CBS show that's out there. Code Black. No,
I can
Code
watch
Black
all.
Isn't that terrible?
I can watch all 30 seasons of Survivor.
Oh, that's right.
Which we'll be talking about later. But it's a good strategy. There are a lot of Trekkies out there, and I'm sure that they are willing to pay $5.99.
Although I don't necessarily know if they'll be willing to pay it for CBS's version of what Star Trek should be. That's all I'm saying.
That's a good point. So, Vicki, you and I, we watch a lot of the same shows, and some shows that we don't watch. But one of those shows that we do watch is The Affair. We're in season 2. I think the season has been going.
It has been going. It has been going every single week. It is there.
It is there every week. I have a major issue with this show, and it's really just one. I don't like anyone on that show. I even dislike the kids.
Oh, the kids are terrible, especially Whitney. The kids are awful. Well, do you remember the very first season of the first episode where one of his kids pretends to commit suicide?
Yes.
And I was like, where is this show going? The kid committed suicide in the first 5 minutes. He didn't.
It's so
But yes, the kids are awful.
Terrible. The kids are awful. The parents are awful. For those of you who don't watch The Affair, I would recommend watching season 1.
The grandparents are awful.
The grandparents are awful. It's a show about a man, Noah Soloway, who has an affair with a woman on Montauk or somewhere on Long Island. And he leaves his wife and 4 kids for her. And now in season 2, and the show you see from each person's perspective.
That's
the hook. Yeah. So you may see the same part of the story multiple times from different perspectives. But the main issue with the show is that you watch it and you just seethe with anger because you hate these people so much. They're so terrible.
There's something about watching people who are terrible and you enjoy watching the terribleness, but this is just terrible. But my question is, do you have to have somebody to root for? I mean, some people could argue, well, you take Breaking Bad. People were, I think, clearly rooting towards the end for Jesse, at least to escape. Walter White, people have lost a lot of sympathy for, but he was so good to watch. And the stuff that he was so clever and so smart, you didn't know what he was going to do next. And that kept you going. Here, you don't really care what they're going to be doing.
No.
You don't like any of them. You're not rooting for any of them. Do you have to root for somebody? And I think you do.
I think you absolutely have to root for someone, because if I am watching a show and I'm just like looking at the screen, looking at Ruth Wilson, I'm just like, I hate your character. What's her character's name again?
And we always forget. Oh my God, Noah Soloway and Allison. Sorry.
I'm just looking at her character, Allison, and I'm just like, you're the worst. You're the absolute worst. And I think the show tries really hard to make us think that we're watching a love story between Allison and Noah, and that they have these moments together where they're like, I want to marry you.
Where you're supposed to like hope at least for this transcendent love.
Right, because it's true love. And I look and I'm just like, you're a man who cheated on your wife. Look, I'm not judging you for that, but you're also a terrible person. So I don't really care if you found the once in a lifetime, love. I just don't care. Also, I don't feel like they have any non-sexual chemistry. Like, what do they know about one another?
Well, I think that was the point of the last episode, where Allison realizes, like, he kind of just sees me as, a sexual object.
Absolutely, because every time you turn around, they're having sex.
Which, kind of makes you feel a little bad for Allison, I would hope. I think that's what, okay.
Negative.
Well, I think one of the things the creators are trying to do by giving the perspectives, by showing the perspectives from all the characters, that they're hoping that you will identify with somebody. Even if you hate somebody from one of the person's perspectives, when you see the other one, you'll be like, oh, I get it. But yeah, I don't really. I mean, Cole really, I think, is the guy sort of left out in the cold here. The one played by Joshua Jackson, Allison's husband, because
Yeah, but then he was sleeping with the married woman and also lusting after the babysitter who was sleeping with his brother. And it's like, where are the good people? And then Helen, who is the wife of Noah, her father left her mother to go be with some woman that he met years ago that was a student. And it's just like, the
heart wants what it wants.
Can I
Erin?
at least like the little 8-year-old girl? Can I like her? She's irritating. They're all I can't. I don't know if I can keep watching the show.
I mean, this is the show that I've said on this podcast before. It should have ended at the end of the first season. Anthology, people, would have been a great anthology. And I don't like where it's going. And I can't see where it's going to go after this. So why even have 2 seasons?
I can't either. But Vicki, the characters on the show are not the first bunch of unlikable TV characters. I have a couple here that I'd like to share with you.
Can I share one first? Because
Absolutely.
One of mine relates directly to the affair.
Okay.
Noah Soloway, who is the first person who was presented to us in the show, and Dominic West. I like Dominic West. We're supposed to sort of be somewhat sympathetic for him, at least through most of the first season. But I kept thinking about this other character, and I'm going to play a clip right now of 2 characters talking about the one I'm thinking of. You're going to know who I'm talking about.
Oh, boy.
Here we go.
Hope it's not like that.
Like what? God!
It's not like anything you're imagining. Nate loved you.
I don't need you to tell me how my husband felt about me. Even if he was pissed off at me, he certainly wasn't in love with you, even if he said he was. Nate could be very convincing that way. All he ever wanted was someone who could make him feel like he was a better man than he actually was. Could have been anyone.
And that's 6 Feet Under?
That is 6 Feet Under. We are talking about Nate Fisher. Do you remember Nate Fisher?
Please refresh my memory.
Oh my God, he was the star of 6 Feet Under, along with his brother and sister.
Wait, was that Peter Krause?
That was Peter Krause.
Okay, got it.
Okay, and like he was presented throughout the entire show as this guy who is just. He was a really good guy, and he was trying to, find himself and find love and live a good life. But he was an incredibly selfish, self-absorbed character, which you slowly realized until the very end of the season, end of the premiere, when he has a near-death experience after cheating on his pregnant wife, who is helping him raise his child from another woman.
That's classy.
And then so he has this near-death experience, and in the hospital he realizes that the woman that he cheated with, he thinks that's the right woman for him, and I just need to live the life that I need to live, and he breaks up with the pregnant wife on his deathbed. And then, of course, thank God, he dies, which I have never been so happy about in my entire life. And we're not talking about people you love to hate or people who are built to be hated, like a lot of the characters in Game of Thrones.
Well, I picked Joffrey from Game of Thrones because I know that he was built for us to hate him, but he was so unlikable that I think I cheered when he died. You
didn't even enjoy hating him? This
no,
is the thing. Like, Nate,
I didn't enjoy it at all.
Just to finish up with Nate here, because I have to exercise my demons about this one. I love the show otherwise, but I really think the writers and the creators are thinking you're going to feel for this guy, even though everybody does terrible things in their life, but he was so self-absorbed. I had no compassion for him towards the end, and all I did was hate him.
Yeah. I don't remember.
I don't think that's what the writers want you to feel about this guy.
I doubt it. Because I think I did watch the beginning of 6 Feet Under, and I don't think he was like completely unlikable 100% of the time.
He wasn't throughout most of the series.
Right.
He was trying, and then at the end, he just sort of like gave up and said, "I'm just want to live the life I want to live and screw everybody else."
Right. Well, like I was saying, I think Joffrey was a character where they thought you would love to hate him, and I think people just absolutely hated him because he was an evil SOB. And when he died, I cheered, and I'm glad he's no longer on Game of Thrones.
Everybody cheered.
Oh, it was. I mean, he was the worst.
He was terrible. I mean, like he was like torturing people and killing prostitutes.
Yes,
and
playing with swords. I mean,
awful.
like, come on now. I think I have a controversial pick for unlikable characters. I dislike almost all of the girls on Girls.
Oh my God, absolutely. Absolutely. I have that right here. And like, this is another
I'm
one
so
where
glad we picked the same one.
Oh my God. I was thinking, well, it must be Marnie. No, it's not Marnie. It's Jessa. No, it's not. I mean, it's
Shoshana.
No. But this is another thing where I think Lena Dunham is trying to like show somebody warts and all and thinking you'll be able to identify with them even if you don't like them, and I just don't like them.
I don't like them either. And you know what? I really think it's an age thing. I think you're right. I think younger people probably identify with them and think that, oh my God, this is my life in Williamsburg or wherever they live. And I'm just like, no, you're all unlikable people. I wish nothing but the worst for you.
Unlikable, unpleasant, terrible,
selfish, spoiled, all of the above.
Yeah, but I think that's what she's going for. So does she not get credit for that?
No.
Okay.
She doesn't get credit for that.
I mean, I have to give her a little bit of credit for that. Because I think this is what she's presenting. This is what she wants us to feel.
I really think she wants us to feel like these are young women trying to make their way, and they come from different circumstances, and then, this is what life is like, and this is what they go through, and they
don't come from different. They're all upper middle class.
This is true. But no, I still don't like them. Who else do you think, Vicki, here?
There are a couple of characters on The Walking Dead, and actually Fear the Walking Dead too, who I absolutely can't stand. I think Father Gabriel, you don't know, is just a very cowardly, terrible character who basically tries to get the good old Grimes gang ejected from the sanctuary where they are now. Not so much a sanctuary anymore, of course. But I have to go back a couple of seasons to Andrea, who is a character from the very beginning of the show, and she's a fan favorite in the books. I believe she's still alive in the book. She is now dead, thank God. But she sort of became she made very bad choices in men. Let's put it that way. And she also had a terrible aim and nearly killed Daryl. So I think that's pretty much enough reason to hate her. There's also, everybody hates Lori. I think that's the really obvious pick. A lot of people don't like Carl, but I have a special hatred for Lori.
Well, my final pick here, not a shocker to anyone, but I love reality TV shows. But there's just one show on Bravo where nearly every single person, and I can't call them characters because they're real people, they're all terrible. And that show would be Vanderpump Rules,
which I've never seen.
You've never watched. Now, I will say that I do hate watch the show, but I just hate the people. And I will briefly tell you why. So there was this through storyline for the first 2 seasons where Stassi, one of the main characters, also one of the most despicable on the show, because she was just a mean girl, was dating this guy, Jax. She also had a best friend, Kristen, who was dating a guy named Tom. They would go on double dates. Jax and Tom, BFFs. Kristen and Stassi, BFFs. So in the second season, this rumor goes around that Kristen hooked up with Jax. So crossing the BFF lines there. And Kristen denied it to the high heavens for the entire season, like calling everyone liars. There's no way she would hook up with Jax. Jax denied it himself. You get to the end of the season, turns out they did sleep together. Not once, but twice. And I'm like, who are you people? Like, who does this, number one? Who does it when they're on a reality show?
But don't you think they did it because they're on a reality show and they
not.
needed something
No,
to talk
Vicki.
about all season
no,
long?
Vicki, that is no. If you watch the show, you would realize that these are terrible people, whether cameras are rolling or not. It is that clear. And I watch a lot of reality TV shows, and I will agree that people play it up for the camera. On this show, they're just terrible people. And I see, and you guys don't know this, but we have a producer named Alyssa, and Alyssa sits quietly behind the scenes, but she also watches Vanderpump Rules and is nodding in agreement right now. These people are terrible. But I will still watch. It comes on Monday nights on Bravo.
Okay, so it's working. Again, it is working. It's exactly what they want you to feel.
So another reality show that is not on Bravo but on Lifetime instead is Project Runway.
Yes, which I have very strong feelings about. I even last year wrote a post, very popular, saying why I'm saying Auf Wiedersehen to Project Runway, and I vowed not to watch it again, but guess what?
You're still watching.
I'm still watching it. I lasted like half a season.
Which was what, last season?
No, yeah, it was, I think, the last All-Star season.
Oh, okay.
But I have to clarify that for many seasons now, I have been like sort of fast forward watching it. Like I watch it and I find out what the challenge is, and then I fast forward to them in mood,
right?
And then I fast forward to Tim Gunn doing his critiques, and then basically I fast forward to the runway, unless I see somebody clawing their eyes out or sobbing hysterically.
I think the worst thing that was ever done to Project Runway
was making it an hour and a half. Oh my god! Oh my god!
It
There's
doesn't
no
need
reason
to be an hour and a half. It's like when The Celebrity Apprentice was 2 hours, like unnecessary. But I still watch. And right now we're in finale week. Last week we had part 1 of the finale. We're down to our final 4. And the critiques last week did not go well for anyone.
No, well, the dresses were also terrible.
They were all of them.
I mean, Tim Gunn, who, by the way, can I have a moment? Like, I love you, Tim Gunn. Tim Gunn, yes. You are my favorite. I will love you forever. He actually said it was a lackluster season.
Ooh, did he?
Yeah. He's like they just weren't putting forth, the effort. He was less than impressed.
Now, what's the name of the woman with the purple hair?
Ashley
yes.
Nell Tipton.
Ashley, yes. So I actually like her. I think her designs have been great. She won like the first 3 or 4 challenges.
I think the only dress from basically the entire season that I remember at this point was the Polaroid dress, which I thought was spectacular.
That was a great
dress.
I think that Edmund is overrated. I think he puts together a lot of sexy dresses, but the silhouettes are really simple and classic. And I'm not looking for simple and classic on Project Runway. What do you think about the girl from Boston?
I kind of love her. At first she didn't really impress me, but she's had like 3 wins in a row now. And I think that she's a really good chance of winning because I think the judges are often influenced by a designer's own personal style.
True.
Anya, I can't pronounce her last name. She was gorgeous, and I think that's why she won over Victor. This is like several seasons ago.
Right.
And this girl has got a lot of, it's very 80s style.
Fanny packs.
But she has done some beautiful work. So I've actually, I've seen all the collections online, and I think she's probably going to win.
You
That's
do?
my guess. I do. I think Ashley Nell Tipton has a beautiful, that purple look. I don't know if it was I can't remember if it was
on. The lace one?
Yes. I thought that was a beautiful look. But I think
Fanny Pack's going to win.
I think Fanny Pack's going to win. Although I also have to say I agree with Tim in the sense that, like, for many, many seasons now, there have been so few standout designers where, like, I remember. Have you watched the entire show from the beginning?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you remember a collection like Rami's collection, or Jillian's collection, or Jay's collection,
or Christian Siriano,
or Christian, which I actually didn't love his final collection, I have to say, but Uli's collection, or like dresses that just stick with you. The corn husk
Kaito
dress.
Is that how you say her name?
Kaito. Yes.
Yeah, she was on twice.
the corn husk dress, the coffee filter dress. I mean, the Carasan's postal worker uniform.
Right. But see,
nothing like that anymore.
But I blame the show. I blame the show because I think every week they're trying to do like something different with the challenges. Like, oh, we'll make it a group challenge, or oh, it's the unconventional plus, scrap heap challenge or whatever.
I don't mind that because they've always had unconventional challenges and they've always pulled
But they
out.
only do one per season.
No, yes, they do more unconventional
now
challenges
they're doing
this
more.
season.
Right. I think that's part of the problem because you're throwing them off so much. And now they're trying to factor all of these different elements into their designs that it's like,
Well, also, I honestly don't think the talent level is just there anymore. I think, one of the, is it Edmund who tried out every single season? Well, maybe that's a clue, okay, that you're kind of hitting the bottom of the barrel here. And some of these people are talented, but the level is not nearly what it used to be. And honestly, I cannot stand the sponsored challenges.
I
have
agree.
Absolutely nothing to do.
The one with Hallmark?
There's one with Hallmark. Last season, there was a Red Robin one. I think the most ridiculous one was Curve TV. Let's throw you a curve, and then it was the Rainway. It was from last season, which actually turned out to be a nice dress, the white dress with the dye sewn in it, Sean Kelly's look. But still, it's ridiculous.
I agree. Well, the finale is this week, and then we go to Project Runway Junior, I think, which I will watch.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
All right, well...
We'll have an entire episode about, kids on reality TV, kids on television, because I find them very difficult to watch because they are so coached.
Yeah,
Food Network star for the kids. Yes. I mean, these kids are all,
Well, we'll talk about that another day. Right now, I would like to introduce a special guest that we have in studio, senior producer for NJ Advanced Media and Survivor superfan, Andrew Zuckerman.
Thank you guys for having me. What an honor to be on the great TV Hangover.
Oh, he's buttering us up already. Well, Andrew, as I mentioned, is Survivor superfan, and so am I. Although I've been watching since the very beginning. Andrew jumped in a little later.
But I've caught up on a lot of the seasons.
Yeah, Andrew's that one CBS
Can I say,
All
I've
Access
been watching
subscriber.
from the very beginning, too. I watched the first episode of Survivor ever.
And that was it?
I think I watched a couple of minutes of the finale that season.
That's the problem. Everybody, when you tell somebody you're a Survivor fan, they say, that show's still on. But you know what? It wins the ratings every Wednesday night.
It does.
It's consistently in the 9 to 10 million viewers, and it's not going away.
And it's a really good show. I will tell you guys, embarrassing moment for the day. When I was in college, I believe it was season 1 of Survivor. It was my first year of college, and we did not have televisions in our rooms because we didn't have cable at Rutgers University. And so the only TV where you can get reception was the one in the lounge. I would reserve the television every Thursday night, or Wednesday, I think at that time, I don't remember. I reserved the television, and I would wear my Survivor t-shirt all day.
Oh my God, do you have that image in your head?
I was obsessed.
Somebody get Jeff Probst this audio so he can send her a buff.
Oh my God. I always look at the Survivor auction at the end of the season to see what I can purchase. I'm a nerd. But Andrew is here because something very interesting happened on this season of Survivor. It was the first time ever where they had viewers vote for the cast. And that is rare. You don't often see that on reality shows where viewers vote in the cast. Andrew, I would say so far this has been a success.
I think it's been, it's been awesome. It's been a lot of fun to watch, and I think part of the reason is because you go into the season already invested in some of these characters. You know who they are. You're fans of them from previous seasons. If you voted for them, you feel like you want them to do well. You know their stories, and now with how far social media has become, all these survivors are on Twitter, on Facebook. So you feel like you've followed them even after their original season, and now that they're back on, it's almost like they're playing for an online community almost.
No, it's so true. And I think in the past, Survivor has had all-star seasons like Project Runway has had. Mm-hmm. But what happens is I don't remember the people that they select unless they're big names like Boston Rob. Otherwise, I have no idea who they are, and so I'm a little less invested. I feel like I have to relearn who they are. But with this season of Survivor and having it been a fan vote, fans pick the most popular characters.
Do they pick the villains or do they pick the heroes?
Both. They're both villains and heroes. People that you absolutely hated last time, like Chaos Cass. She's back this season. And there were people that you absolutely loved. And I'll say I loved Jeremy last time, and I wanted him to win. So there's a good mix. Now, I think that Abby Maria, who was definitely not a fan favorite the last time, and certainly not a fan favorite now, I think most people could live without her, although she's getting less screen time.
Yeah, but you know who couldn't live without her? The producers, because Vicki, like you're saying, she is a major villain, and every great TV show needs a villain, and she has gotten tons of airtime, possibly because she's one of the few villains out there.
But don't you think that they have lessened her airtime? Like last week, she was hardly on, like since they merged tribes.
Yeah, it was all about Chaos Cast last week.
Yes, Chaos Cast is back. Now, Vicki, do you think, I know
Sorry,
that
Chaos Cast. Rolling my eyes.
Self-titled, like she named herself. Vicki,
Rolling my eyes even more.
Vicki, now I know you don't watch a lot of reality television, but you do watch Project Runway.
Mm-hmm. I watch some, just not Survivor or The Amazing Race. Or
So she watches the ones that no one else is interested in.
The Voice. I watch The Voice.
Ugh, please. So let's say Project Runway did a season where fans voted for the contestants. Do you think that would be better than the normal All-Star season?
Well, I do, although, I mean, I think I often wonder, like, when they do bring people back for the All-Star seasons, because they've done it like 3 or 4 times now, they do fill it out with some people that you're like, I can't remember who these people are. And so I wonder whether there are people who just don't want to come back to reality television.
Yeah, but when there's a prize
there's
involved.
a smaller pool for Project Runway too, but I don't know.
So I think that was one of the good things Survivor did, is that with this fan vote, they built it up. It was like 4 weeks in the making, and they announced the results at the finale of the previous season. So you kind of had time to relearn who they were, or what they did in their first seasons, instead of just announcing the cast where you're like, who's that?
Right.
But they put their bios online. They had a minute intro video. And then they had them all at the finale, so they did a good job reintroducing them into the Survivor world.
That's true. And some of these people took time off of work to campaign to get back on the show. I mean, it is $1 million.
And what are they really doing?
And then you had the drama.
They have real jobs, Vicki.
You had the drama of the 12 or 14 people who didn't get on the show having their hearts torn out.
Oh my gosh, Vicki has no idea.
In front of 10 million people.
So
it was great.
It was the Survivor. Sounds terrible. Andrew sounds like the word. Andrew's in our unlikable TV characters category. No. So they had the finale, and at the finale, they had all 32 or however many it was potential contestants sit there, and Jeff Probst went up to them on live television and was like, Vicki Hyman, you were a great player the first time around. We will not see you in the next season. And it was like, what?
Well, that happens on most reality shows, does it not? Most competition reality shows.
Yeah, but you're not even on the show. This is your chance to get back on the show. And some of these people waited 20 seasons to get back on the show. And then Jeff Probst, crushed their dreams.
They had their bags packed, ready to go.
Yes, had their bags
on the show.
And, it was
more exciting than the actual finale last season. So I think that helped with the build up for this season.
That's because they spent 45 minutes on that. But all right. So Andrew, Survivor is winding down, and I know our podcast comes out on Wednesday. Survivor airs on Wednesday, so we may be giving picks for someone who's getting kicked off tonight. But who do you think will win this season?
Well, I think we have briefly talked about this, but it seems like Spencer right now, based on how much screen time he's getting, how they're really building up his narrative of, he's changed his social game this time around. He's trying to be different from the first time. We're seeing that with a couple other people, but not really as much as we are with him. He would be my pick right now.
And I'm going to go with the dark horse. She's absolutely not going to win. Kelly Wigglesworth from season 1 of Survivor, whom Vicki should have seen in that one episode that she watched. She came in second place to Richard Hatch. I'm rooting for her. I hope she wins.
I'm hoping for Chaos Cat. That's her name, right?
Chaos.
Sorry. No idea.
All right. Well, thanks, Andrew, for joining us on TV Hangover. We'll have you back for the finale.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. So, Vicki, you sat down earlier this week with New Jersey native Laura Benanti.
Laura Benanti. I think you're mixing her name up with her character, Allura.
No, I said Laura.
It sounded like Allura.
No.
Sorry. Yes, I spoke to Laura Benanti earlier this week. Kinnelon native, has played many roles on Broadway, including winning a Tony for Gypsy Rose Lee, for Gypsy. And she is now on Supergirl. And I knew she was on Supergirl, but it wasn't until the premiere that I was like, oh, she's got a really juicy part on Supergirl. Recurring character. She not only plays Supergirl's mother, Laura Zor-El, she also, who dies but is available via some sort of artificial intelligence thing that they took pains to explain.
Yes.
But she also plays Laura's sister, the evil Astra Zor-El. So it's a very juicy twin role, and I talked to her earlier this week, and why don't we have a listen to some of our conversation?
So the thing that I love and Andrew and Allie do with these characters is, you know, there's light and dark in everyone. And sometimes, you know, a person can skew to either extreme of both of those shades. And for sure, when we first meet Astra, she skews towards the dark. But I think, like any person throughout history who's ever done anything, she believes in her cause. She believes in what she's doing. And the way that she goes about doing it might not be palatable or a way that we would hope that people or Kryptonians might behave. But I do think her intentions are good, at least from her point of view. Mm-hmm. She thinks she knows how to save Earth the way that she couldn't save Krypton.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know we're running out of time. I wanted one last question. I know you've been bouncing back and forth between Broadway and TV for about a decade now. What do you find appealing about the small screen, and do you consider one or the other to be your true calling?
I mean, the theater is my home. You know, I grew up wanting to be Julie Andrews. I grew up wanting to be a Broadway star. That was always my goal. And I achieved that goal at such a young age, which is such a miracle. You know, I was 18 years old. So then I have been given these amazing opportunities to play so many unique and diverse roles, not only on stage, but on television. And I see the blessings of both. And it's funny, like, whatever thing I'm doing is the thing that I feel like I love the most. So I guess that's like a lucky quality that I have. When I'm doing this, you know, a play, I'm like, I only ever want to do plays. I love plays. And then when I'm doing TV, I feel the same way. So, you know, certainly the theater is my home, but I'm feeling more and more comfortable on television, and I feel like in the past couple of years in particular, have been given really interesting and like juicy opportunities on TV, which has felt nice.
Always fun to hear a Vicki Hyman interview.
I'm a much better writer.
Oh, wow, please. Those two things go hand in hand. So I'll continue watching Supergirl. I'm in for right now.
You know, I liked it. I watched the second episode. It is not the kind of show that I would, let's say, normally watch. I just have higher priorities, but I think what it does very well.
I agree. All right, Vicki. So last thing we're going to talk about on today's podcast, Quantico.
I finally watched it last night. Oh. I was so high on this show, and now it's kind of like, now it has become my I was watching it on Sunday nights, and then I was watching it, now it's Tuesday nights.
It's ridiculous. So we had a brief conversation before. The episode that aired on Sunday was the one that, like, the straw that broke the camel's back for me. It was so implausible, the way that they set things up, that now Shelby is dating blonde guy's dad.
Blonde guy's Caleb, I believe.
Yes, Caleb's dad, and like having
was like
an affair.
The really high up in the CIA,
yes,
in the FBI. Excuse me.
Yes, and I already thought it was ridiculous that like 9 months after they leave Quantico, Shelby would cut her hair in such a dramatic way.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That's so unrealistic.
Absolutely. But now we are to believe that she and Caleb fell in love, by the way, and then broke up, and then she started dating his father and having an affair. And I'm like, in 9 months, all of
and
these
things
things
apparently
happened.
does still work for the FBI, because that I think was a little bit in question.
Oh yeah, I was confused about that. Also, are we to believe that cute guy, can't remember his name, with the short hair,
Jacob?
Sure. Jacob and glasses guy,
Simon.
Sure. that they're having conversations with Alex in the middle of like the FBI headquarters where they've set up to look for the bomber
on the phone,
and no one notices, no one hears. Well,
the fact that any of these people would even be involved at such a high level in this investigation, it just is ridiculous. But I am sort of willing to go along with it. I get annoyed by the red herrings every single week. So this week it was Caleb, and Alex thinks it's him because he managed to position himself to look for, he was really just spying on Shelby.
Right.
And he found out that she's having an affair with his father. I thought the most ridiculous moment at the end where I just really slapped my head was when Simon burst into the twins' rooms and realizes, oh my God, they're twins. But wait. And then he's like, whoa, what the heck? And then he falls down and hits his head and then ends up in a closet.
Yes.
What
a closet
is this?
and Nima or whichever twin it is
one
won't let him out of the closet. And I'm just like, now is that a metaphor for him faking being in the closet?
No.
Which part? This whole show is driving me insane, but I will give you my new prediction for who I think the bomber is.
Okay.
I'm going to go totally off the wall. I think I've made a different prediction every week. I'm going to go for the former Quantico director's son. Because why else do we care that he wanted to bomb his school? Why is that a plot point?
Yes, which is why I thought it was his mother.
Okay, either one. Someone in that family is the
something.
Bomber.
Yeah.
Because that storyline could fall to the wayside and I'd be fine. I don't understand why we care about this kid at all. Mm-hmm. Do you?
No, I don't care. I'm having a hard time caring about a lot of things on the show.
Wow.
I still like the adrenaline rush a little bit. I like the back and forth. I don't know. It's really losing its appeal for me.
So who do you think do you think it's the mom?
Yeah, I still think I'll still go with the mom.
All right. Well, those are our Quantico picks for this week.
We can't remember the names of the
characters.
characters.
We can't. Glasses guy, short hair guy, other people. So that will do it for episode 8 of TV Hangover. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at TV Hangover Show and subscribe and review to our podcast on iTunes and Stitcher. And soon we will be on TuneIn Radio, so you can listen to our podcast there. We are expanding, Vicki.
Everywhere.
So thanks for listening again, and we will be here next week.